Hello and welcome to the Black Diamond Lounge, where I have the absolute pleasure of bringing some of the most innovative, disruptive, and incredible minds just redefining success and crafting their destiny legacy. And if you thrive on innovation, creativity, and elite solutions aligned with deep impact, soul purpose, and frequency, this is the place for you. So today I am super excited. I have Philip Chan, President and CEO of Lightspeed Investing, to share his incredible story. Welcome, Philip. So excited to have you here today.
Thanks so much, Lauren. Glad to be here as well.
Amazing. So I know we've got a lot to cover today. I have so many questions for you, but first I would love to just hear you just introducing yourself to our audience, just a little bit about you and what you do.
Yeah, no, that's great. So my name is Philip Jayhawk Chan. I've been raised here in Kansas ever since I was 9. And, for me, it took me some time to get to where I am now. This was not like an overnight thing where I would just walk into being the president and CEO of a private investment firm. Like many entrepreneurs out there, I envisioned a bigger future and a bigger vision for my life. And initially, I thought that being a surgeon would be the thing that would help accelerate all of that. According to conventional wisdom, it's usually doctor, lawyer, and engineer, right? And you'll have your career set. And as we all know, that is not the case anymore in 2024. So I had to go through my own journey of finding myself. I kind of utilized my own master's degree as a as a self-reflection period, right, where I really explored and got the guidance of different mentors, really honing it down to the top 5 that made the most sense for me. And ultimately, went after not your traditional MBA in the sense of a master's of business administration, but an MBA in the real life, right, which is a massive bank account, as that is the thing that will really help propel, whatever goals and dreams that you may have and actually manifest it to reality. So, when I was doing that, I made sure to really learn from people that were successful in their fields and really, get as much information that I need, the right information, right? In 2024, the digital age, we're sort of bombarded by information now. So it was important to me that I was able to acquire the right ones, right? And essentially towards the end of my master's, as opposed to graduating, I felt like I was ready to take that leap of faith to go start my own business and really, go in the trenches, right? So I started my own LLC in the summer of 2021, as opposed to graduating. And I've never looked back ever since, and within that journey, I had to go through several iterations of what I really wanted to do within business before running into my business partner now, right? And actually having that connection to go, okay, this is something that makes sense. And I think I could really create an impact here.
Amazing. I know there's always what I'm endlessly fascinated with is that story, that deeper story of really how that happened and those kind of pivotal moments throughout that journey where you have to decide, here's where I'm going to leap. Here's where I'm going to leap in the dark. So I'd love to hear some of those those challenges that have really taken you to where you are today in terms of, ending up in the world of investing, but even just when you decided, okay, I'm going to make that LLC and knowing here's the partner that I'm going to be working with and what those steps really look like, because I feel like visionaries very much move in the dark, and that is part of the challenge, and that is also a part of the genius. So if you could elaborate a little bit more on just what some of those moments look like for you.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Thank you so much for that. I mean, nothing's guaranteed in life, right? The only thing that is certain is uncertainty. So when I pivoted into entrepreneurship, I had a lot of great information, learning from fellow billionaires and multimillionaires alike, right? Specifically, Grant Cardone was one of my mentors that I really, resonated with, along with Ty Lopez. He was actually my first online mentor. So I was kind of on my own for a bit. And I learned, to make money and also lose money, right? trading luxury timepieces, as well as made some money in cryptocurrencies, and really figuring out in this journey, like the products and services that I could get after. Initially when I first started out, I thought that, okay, like investing was really important aspect of the wealthy, but I also wanted to back that up with some substance and depth. And ultimately, to kind of nail the point home, I found all things footing in leadership development. A leadership, to me, I found passion in because I recognize that not only is it a very underrated skill set that no one ever talks about, across business, as opposed to the marketing and sales, but more importantly, leadership is a very applicable skill set in all areas of life, right? Regardless if you are in business or not. Because Lauren, like for example, outside of business, you could be a sister, you could be a friend, you could be a wife, right? An auntie, and a role model to others, which again has leadership implications. So, for me, I really decided to hone in on helping emerging leaders and up and coming managers, right, to become the best leaders they possibly can be, as that was sort of my impetus for going after leadership. So as I developed those skill sets, I had not my business partner yet, but I wanted to put myself in the best position for success, where I, networked with high caliber people in high caliber rooms. And so, by doing that consistently, that's actually where I ended up meeting my business partner at a Grant Cardone event. And it was just one of those very serendipitous things where, him and we met, we talked for like an hour and a half, and we ended up walking out of the event together. And so it was one of those moments where, after I had met him, I was like, wow, this, like, what you're doing, is amazing. And that's really where the conversation started.
I love that, because serendipity, I definitely want to get into this because it's so fascinating to me also about this, like, high stakes decision making, extremely precise information analysis, and this balance of intuition, right? Like the levels in which you need to trust yourself are incredible, because not everyone is going to be moving this way. Not everyone is going to be able to hold that, like, that tension or that level of risk. So now we're talking like the whole, even just the energetics of sitting in tension, right? So I love that. I love to hear that you guys walked out together, because how powerful was that if you didn't trust yourself in that way, right? If you both didn't trust each other in that precise moment in time, what you wouldn't be sitting here, you'd be doing something different.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, there were certainly, for us to have done that, there were multiple elements that we saw to help reinforce the relationship. And that's always been, very important to me as well. Talking about leadership, I come from, Kansas. So in terms of championship excellence on the basketball court, I played a lot as well. Being a point guard, the floor general, a head coach, or an NBA team owner, you got to know how to manage personalities and relationships to where everyone is tied to, the bigger vision, right?
Yeah.
So when I first met him, what we recognized was there was more, alignment and connections, not just on the business side of things, also on the personal side, right? Like, for example, he's also an international city boy. He's born and raised in London. I'm from Hong Kong, right? City of international commerce. He was trained as an internal medicine physician, and I was going to be a surgeon, right? So there's that medical camaraderie, and they're just kind of like little elements that we found out about each other as well. He's an only child, right? Didn't grow up with any siblings. I grew up with two older sisters. So we both kind of talked about how we have always wanted, to have brothers in our lives too. And so, there's just these multiple elements. So he's kind of like my mentor and big brother, because he's about a decade older than me. And I'm like the little brother, right? But both very capable in our own rights, with I think a lot to offer. Now, when I first met him, I actually had my own agenda and execution plan to head off into 2023, because I had met him right before turn of 2023. And so I said to myself, okay, like, let me really see what this guy's about, because he's been running a hedge fund for the past 15 years. You know, and so in that moment, I was like, okay, like I've known about trading and investing, but not necessarily this style, in particular within futures and commodities, right? Which is regarded as the most lucrative asset class out there, you know, due to its inherent risk and volatility. Now, most people are apprehensive about these things, but you know, if you know how to leverage it the right way, you actually can have very robust returns, you know, in a systematic manner. So, and that's what we do, right? We will make money firm where we either manage money for you or we teach you how to do it right the right way. So, you know, for me, I decided to assess him, you know, for a good month. And during that time, really reflect how I wanted to take my endeavors moving forward, you know, into the new year. And so, really, you know, after seeing more, I actually decided to revamp and adjust my calendar. You know, I would say like for a good like 90, 95%, um, you know, to embrace this new opportunity. So I started as a client initially. And again, you know, at the beginning, I learned how to take several $100s to over several $1,000s, which is amazing. But more importantly, it was during those intimate client conversations, the private mentorship, that gave us additional clarity on how we could potentially work together. Where we eventually, you know, decided to give business partnership a test trial, where he delivered, I delivered, and you know, now we've been together for a little bit over a year and a half now.
Yeah, sounds like it's working out beautifully. I love that. I'm really curious because what I'm hearing from you now is a lot of the both of you holding these kind of shared core values, and you talking a lot about leadership and in particular. And I'm always very interested in, of course, the journey to leadership through leadership, because I feel like so many of us feel that there is intrinsically something that is living inside us that we cannot not do it, and we go and we do it, right? And there's that next level of when we're challenged in those spaces of when you were just building the thing and you didn't know if it was going to work, or if you didn't know that he was going to be that partner, and you're in that like test trial of all the things, right? How did you remain so solid in your vision, and deal with the very real challenges of sometimes you don't feel like a leader. Sometimes I'm going to say the shit hits the fan. Sometimes things don't work out. I'm really curious about that aspect of your journey as well
Yeah.
into cultivating like true leadership. And this is, once again, there's no cap to that, right?
No, absolutely. And I think that's a great question. But you know, this is something that I learned when I was going through that incubation period, right, of pursuing my own MBA during my master's, and learning from these great mentors. One of which, you know, I think learning from and studying Jeff Bezos, you know, he talked about like you saw just now what Amazon did in quarter 3, right? But like the earnings in quarter 3 didn't happen in quarter 3. The earnings in quarter 3 happened because of the work that was put in quarter 1, quarter 2, the year before that, all the things leading up to it.
Yeah.
So what I'm sharing here with you now is, you know, a lot of the things that I needed to prepare for the moment was being cultivated before I met my business partner. And also, you know, it's not just business. There's this also hybrid blend of like success principles from winning championships on the basketball court, right? So, you know, as a point guard, you have to learn how to manage personalities and lead, right? And when you study great coaches like John Wooden and Phil Jackson as well, right? Like those success principles from sports. So what I'm trying to share with you is like it wasn't necessarily a spur of the moment adjustment. It was a accumulation of skills and experience that then allowed me to enter into this relationship and be able to deliver. You know, like
Yeah.
I've always been one. I am obviously 10x indoctrinated through the Grant Cardone community. So the 3 success principles that I always keep with me is your best investment will always be in yourself, first and foremost, right? Because whatever you invest in yourself, no one can take away from you. So you always want to invest in yourself. You invest in the thing that produces the most income for you, whether it be your business or resources that do so. And then thirdly, invest in assets, right? Whether it be, the global financial markets, real estate, et cetera, right? But the point is, yes, times can be challenging, right? And I think what I like to lean in on is I always study success principles, right? Similar to the game of basketball and winning championships, right? It's all about the fundamentals. And when you're able to do the fundamentals at a high level, other people may perceive it as an advanced move, but really you've just done the basics so many times that your
Yeah.
speed, at executing it is that much better. So, I would say how I, deal with that isn't necessarily just, me winging it. It comes from those years of cultivating wisdom, skills and experience to then be able to make the best judgment. And I think also coming from the medical field, as I mentioned, my whole resume before entrepreneurship was geared to be a surgeon. So I was blessed. I mean, I've always been going after mentors at a high level, and I was blessed to have mentored by a very renowned surgeon, in our local area, where I mean, I'm able to be in the room with them to learn about those high stakes decision making, not in business, but more so, like I said, in medicine. And so certainly a lot of that mindset, will carry over. But if I come across a situation now that I necessarily am not certain what to do, I like to consult with people that are more successful than me. I have a Rolodex of contacts, whose wisdom and advice I appreciate and I value. So I will leverage the social capital that I've garnered. But you can also do the same way. Now, it could be a little bit slower, right? With books and podcasts and audiobooks. I
Yeah.
think, like I said, I always hinge back on my success principles. So, it's like if whatever certain situation's happening here, I'll go, okay, but remember the success principle that was talked about, and I'll just kind of like apply it and align it accordingly to keep myself grounded.
I love that. I love that. And those are like it's those seem to be like those anchor points for you. And I
Absolutely.
love the fact that you brought up this idea or necessity of this, it's a compounding effect, right? So when we see someone make a quantum leap or have a very powerful experience or something successful, that all of this has been extremely precisely um, created from what you were doing before. All of the preparation, all of you anchoring into those success principles and the basics over and over and over and over again, probably more than most could even last. And I think that this is so important when we are speaking to visionaries who are really building something big, because I also see that very often we want something immediately, right? It doesn't mean that you can't hyperspeed things, but we want things so fast. And that just highlighting the fact that, what you said was so powerful in the sense that we are, this compound effect is indeed quite necessary to, create that really big outcome later on. So, and of course, yes, mentorship is the way to hyperspeed. Podcast, books, yes, but I think that's getting in the rooms, right, of
Yep.
with people who are so much smarter than you are, and what that feels like too, even energetically, that can be very challenging for a lot of people. So I love that you brought that up as well. I think that's so valuable for those watching. I'd also love to hear. I know that we actually have just a few more minutes here, but I'd love to hear about really because you're the ethos of your business and what you're creating. Just curious around ensuring that your work aligns not just with the profitability, but also with making that meaningful impact on the lives of your clients, the larger community, and of course yourself included. So that I hear a lot of the intention of freedom, which I think is so beautiful, so powerful. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, no, I love it. At the end of the day, again, Lauren, people do business with us or are interested to explore further because we are a make money firm, right? But we're not just a make money firm for the sake of money. We're a make money firm, for the sake of leveraging money the right way. So we tend to attract a lot of high quality individuals. A case in point, my right hand that I'm training and grooming, he is the dual executive of our firm, and he wants to create massive wealth, in the level of billions, right? So that he can help the issues of sustainable agriculture and clean water all around the world, right? And so, so that's kind of big scale, but when you narrow it down, we've been blessed with this skill set that we teach, not just for our clients, but for ourselves. We've been able to retire medical professionals from their careers if they want to. We have helped people not only make more money, but regain their time, right? Which in an essence, energy and lifestyle, the way that they design their own lifestyle according to how they want to live. And it's truly amazing, So, on the conversation around impact for us, we pride ourselves on not being your typical hedge fund managers that are just obsessed about growing their AUM numbers. For those of you who don't know what AUM numbers is, that's assets under management. For us, we're more so passionate about the educational division where we create additional exposure and awareness to this style of investing. Because, unless you're someone heavily immersed within the financial districts of the world, it is very difficult for someone to be privy to this information. And if you're not immersed in those kind of exchanges and situations, the next best step is to be able to shake hands, right? And get connected with people that are connected. And again, not a lot of people are in a position to do that. They're trying to, survive and just pay the bills. So where we come from is we feel that no matter if anyone decides to do anything with these markets or not, they should at least know about it. And, having know more about it, they can make the decision to, take the next steps accordingly to their situation, right? But at least they now are aware. Because again, as I mentioned, not only is this information, right, trading futures and commodities, not covered in your typical college curriculum, it is also not going to be featured on your traditional career fairs and billboards for the reason that it is, a very private and exclusive type of conversation. Just by having this conversation, you're essentially entering into the realm of the ultra wealthy, high net worth and ultra wealthy. If you did your due diligence around futures and commodity financial market billionaires, right, you would find that the world's top 42% actually play this game for a living. But again, these are things that they don't really teach you in school. Colleges are more so meant to produce employees. They're meant to train someone and put them into a system, that exists, the infrastructure that currently exists. So that's more so where we put our stamp on our ability to create impacts. It is, allowing people to know that there's more things than being a doctor, lawyer, and engineer according to traditional and conventional career wisdom, to really accelerate your chance of success, to accelerate your ability to grow wealth, and your capacity to ensure that your next future generations will be taken care of.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Philip. This has been an extraordinary conversation. So many more questions, but we'll cap it at this for now.
Sure.
I'd love that. Just, where can my audience find you? Where can we connect with you? Online, here, LinkedIn. Yes, do let us know.
Yeah, just feel free to look me up, Philip Jayhawk Chan, and CEO of Lightspeed Investing. Feel free to shoot me a message if this live event or recording resonated with you, and you want to talk more. You can feel free to message. My team will get back to you. In according to the structure, I believe there should be a link under the show notes as well, where if you want to book a call with me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And of course, if you have any questions, whether you're live or watching the replay, go ahead and comment below. We'll drop some links below this video as well. Amazing. Thank
Thanks so
you,
much for having
Philip.
me, Lauren.
Amazing. All right. Thanks again. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Appreciate you.